Okay, class, this is just a quick budget tutorial on Mint.com. You'll probably start in the Overview tab up here. And this just gives you just an overview on the left of all your cash accounts, any credit cards that you've entered in there, loans, investments, and then all your assets on the left side. I'm going to spend most of the time on the budget section of this. So you click on the budget, and it will automatically probably have some automatically populated there for you. You can, for instance, delete or add the budgets that you want. For instance, okay, I don't want a coffee shop budget. I can edit the details and I can delete this budget and it will be gone. So it's going to put a few in there just by default. If you don't want any of those there, you can delete them just like that. Now, let's create a budget. So for each budget item, we're going to click Create Budget. And then I'm going to choose a category. And I'm going to come down to Income. And I'm going to put in Paycheck. And let's just say, sure, whatever this is. Monthly amount, it's going to say how much it is. And it's going to say Save. And now it's saved that here as a budget. So there's the amount. And so far, it looks like we've brought in $2,000 of $23.33 for the month. And we have some other income. Maybe you have a second job or something like that. So, for the budgets, same thing with the expenses. Let's say I have a budget and I want to make, I don't know, let's see, mobile phone. So I'd go create a budget, go to category. I can say bills and utilities and mobile phone. And every month this is, I don't know, $100 a month. It's every month. If it was every few months or once, if it was a one-time budget for that month, you could do it there. If it's every month, it's going to be $100. Don't worry too much about this rollover. We'll go over those later. And click Save. And there we have my mobile phone bill for $100 a month. Now, let's say you want to create a budget and there's not really a category for it. Maybe you have, let's see, maybe you have something in bills and utilities that is not part of the categories. Like, let's say we have a, I don't know, let's say internet, it's under gifts. Let's say we do a monthly gift to, or tithing. Here's one for tithing, actually. So under gifts and donations, there's not, you could probably put under charity, but maybe I want to make one specific for tithing. You'd say add category. So I click here, then here I can add a new category, and I'm going to put tithing. And as I start to type this, usually it starts to bring up suggestions of ones that people have already created. So I'm going to click tithing, and I'm going to save it, and it places it here, and then I'm going to click OK. Now, that just added the category. Now we have to create the budget for that category. So when I come to gifts and donations, now tithing is there. Click tithing. You'd put it whatever it is for that month. $200. Save. And so now I have a tithing. There's different ways you can sort these. Right now it's sorting by category. You could sort them by status, so it would put the red ones up top. That's usually the way I like this, because then it brings anything that's over will be red, everything that's close will be there. You could also do it by amount. So maybe I want to see my highest ones first, then my lowest ones. I like status. Okay, so that's how you create a new budget. And let's go to the part of how it's budgeted here. So what this is telling me is how much you've budgeted. Our income, we said we had one income for $2,333 a month. And then, so what we're going to do, this is going to tell us how much we've budgeted for that. And then the spending is going to tell us how much did we budget on all the expenses for the month. So basically it adds up everything that we've budgeted and it puts it here, and then it tells us if we have any specific goals that we've set and how much is left over. Now, like you've learned in class, this leftover amount needs to be 0 because you're going to be doing a zero-based budget. So you're going to have income, you're going to have expenses, and then you're going to have whatever baby step you're putting money to, make it a budget for that month. So that this leftover should say 0. So this is what you've actually budgeted, and on the left side is actually what you've actually spent. So we've gotten $2,000 of $23.33, and we've spent $329 of the budgeted $14.29. So on the left is what's actually happening, and on the right is what we've budgeted. So that's how you set up the budget. Now, let's get into transactions. This is very important. the everything else category. So what happens is if a transaction comes in and it's not into one of your budgets, it's going to put it in this everything else category. Your goal is to make sure that there's nothing in this category, because everything that you have spent money on needs to be in a budget. So what happens is, let's go to the transactions. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring in automatically from your bank account that you've set up, it's automatically going to bring in the transactions from your bank account, and it's going to try to recategorize those by themselves. And it does an okay job, but it's not perfect. And you're going to have to do maybe once a week for 10 to 15 minutes. You're going to have to recategorize some of your expenses. Now, I typically like to keep restaurants and fast food all as one category, sort of like eating out. And so I'll just choose one. So for every restaurant there, fast food, I'm going to change this to restaurant. So I'm going to go food, restaurants. Now, for this Subway, let's make this restaurants. So food, restaurants. Now here's a thing that will save you a ton of time. Is we did this for Subway. I can click on this edit details, and let's see. Restaurants. Okay. Now, when I edit this, and I say edit transaction, once I've changed a category on something, this says always rename Subway and categorize it as restaurants. And I want to click this, because now anytime Subway comes up, by default it's going to make it restaurants. So after about the first 2 months, you'll probably have most of these things, a lot of them coming in categorized the way you want. So it takes a little bit of time the first month, and it gets easier and easier every time, because as you've gone through these and go, oh, Chipotle's, I know that one's going to be restaurants. I set it to restaurants, and then I can edit this, and now anytime Chipotle comes in, it's going to be put in as restaurants. So that's how you recategorize things. So what your job is to make sure that every single thing that's in here is in one of my budget items. So iTunes is going to go maybe to my entertainment, my spending cash. I usually like to keep this, create this as a category called Blow Money. And we would put that in a category. Obviously, we would have a budget for that category. So your job is to make sure that every single thing here is categorized. One last thing, the most important thing is the devil is in the details. So what happens when you go to Target or Walmart or something like that? Like this, Walmart will come in as shopping, $143. Well, shopping doesn't tell us anything, so we're going to recategorize this. But you probably didn't spend it all in one spot. So this is probably the most important thing you need to learn here. So I'm going to edit the details of this transaction, and I'm going to split it, because I'm going to split this transaction into different categories. Let's say I spent $93 on groceries. I'm going to put $93 here, and I'm going to click split. It's going to tell me I have $50 left in this transaction to allocate. Now I'm going to say, well, I would probably had some home supplies. So I'm going to go home supplies. Maybe that was $36.17. And I have $13.97. Oh yeah, I bought a gift for somebody there too. So I come here and I'm going to put $13.97. When I hit split, there's nothing left. So now we have from the 143, 93 was groceries, 36.17 was home supplies, 13.97 was gifts. You click I'm done, and it will actually re-put that category. It'll redo that transaction into 3 separate transactions: Walmart, 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 gift, home supplies, groceries. This is super important, because you'll never really see where your money is going. You'll never be able to adjust if you don't do these details. Very important. How do I remember what I've spent on? Good question. What I do is, when I get a receipt, if it's not blatantly obvious to me later on what that receipt's for, I'm going to write something on it. You put a pen in your car. As soon as you get back to your car from the store, I'm going to write. I'm going to circle certain things on the receipt and say these two, and I'm going to write gift next to them. I'm going to say this is all groceries. So write it on your receipt as soon as you get back to the car, because even by the time you get home, you're going to forget. I guarantee it. So that's how you do it. So now when we get back there, let's assume that you've categorized all your stuff for the week. And again, this gets easier after the first, second month. It takes me 10 minutes a week now to do this. But if you don't do it, you won't succeed. I guarantee that. If you do it, you will succeed. So I come down to my budgets. And so when you're done for the week, entering all your receipts, you should have nothing in this everything else. So your object is to make sure that nothing is here. Everything that's here gets into one of these budgets. So I would literally go through every one of these categories. I like to do it quickly by right-clicking and opening in a new tab on all these. And then literally I just come to them and I would just recategorize. I would go to this one, I'd recategorize as restaurants, this one, recategorize it, and then come back, and when I hit budgets again to refresh it, you want to come back and make sure there's nothing here. That's going to be the goal. So the goal, two big goals. One is you're setting up your monthly budget every month. And of course, as you see here, there's all different months. So you can go back and look at previous months and things like that. But in this case, we're just going to do March of this year. And then you're going to set your budget up exactly the way you want it. You're going to make sure that this equals 0 because you want your zero-based budget. You're going to have, obviously, a budget for your baby step goal for that month. And then every week, you're going to categorize your transactions to ensure that you have nothing in the everything else category and that your budget is what you've actually spent. Every dollar is in one of your budget items. And that's pretty much the beginning tutorial, and that's most of what you'll need to know in Mint.